from my experience, it was more like taught to fear you than hate you. I was taught that you were dangerous, that you hated white people. I can remember being told that like I couldn't go in certain parts of town because like if I was just walking down the street, I would have been like murdered or great.
White people are actually scared of equality. That's just how racist we are as a people. And it's not just that one person. White culture in general. Probably I would say most white people, when they hear the word equality, they fear that white people will be oppressed because brown, black, and indigenous people might actually get what's fair and just.
Hi, Black 1000. From my experience, because I can't speak for everyone, all white people or their experiences, but from my experience, it was more like taught to fear you than hate you. I was taught that you were dangerous, that you hated white people. I can remember being told that like I couldn't go in certain parts of town because like if I was just walking down the street, I would have been like murdered or raped or something. It was just more like the rhetoric in the background. Part of my white privilege is I can put down my anti-racist torch and like not think about this because it's not negatively affecting me. In that, we also have white privilege in our racism because we don't have to carry it around all the time. It's not like front of mind. It's not like I was constantly being berated with like bad rhetoric about black people. It's always just like in the background, like being reinforced with, you know, racist jokes or racist comments about people or, you know, using racial slurs to degrade people. So it still happens today. Like there's a park by my house and they have public events for like Easter. They'll have an Easter egg hunt, but we go to them and it's predominantly black people that attend, and I will have white people in my life when they'll be like, oh, what are you doing Saturday? I'm like, oh, we're going up to the park by our house, and they're like, you know, it gets really dark around there, which is now like code for there's too many black people, or they'll be like, oh, it's really gonna be really dark there, so why don't you go over to this part of town, to that park? And I'm just like, yeah, we've been many times, we enjoy it, that's why we're going, but it's just that constant like thread through, like theme throughout. And I feel like some of that doesn't answer the question as to like why people feel that way, but again, it's just been ingrained in us since children to fear you, which easily turns to hate, right? If you are scared of them and think that they're gonna like threaten your way of life or threaten your well-being, then you are gonna hate them. And it's wild, and I'm trying to break down these barriers. I really just want people to see, like, push back on those thoughts, peel back the onion a little bit. Like, why do you have these thoughts? Where did they come from? Are they rooted in fact? Are they rooted in your experiences? And I've said this before, but when you isolate yourself away from a group that you have hatred for, whether it's black people or the LGBTQIA community or the trans community or Muslims or whoever, when you don't have actual experiences with these people on a regular basis, it is easy to continue to believe the bullshit that you've been told because you don't have anything to judge it against except for believing people you love and trust in your life that have told you these things. So more than anything, I encourage white people to engage with these communities, make friends, have experiences, build your own narrative, so at least it's built on something real and just not something that you've been told that's been passed down through generations that have been built on hate.
Black people know things white people don't. Before I go on, you can check my video notes for the references I used to create this video. Generations of white Americans were raised with a story that made us feel like heroes. We learned about abolitionists, not about the banks that provided insurance on enslaved people. We learned about the civil rights movement, but not about the white mobs who terrorized black families for trying to move into a better neighborhood. Systemic racism didn't just hurt black people, although they were the ones that took most of it, but it also misinformed white people, and that pisses me off. It trained us to see unfairness and injustice as progress. That's why when black folks talk about redlining, medical racism, or why certain laws hit their communities so much harder, many white people are just confused, or worse, and probably more commonly, they're defensive. It's not just ignorance, it's conditioning. The system made sure we didn't see the whole picture, because once we did, we might start asking too many questions. White people need to hear the truth from people who live it. But that takes a toll on black people. They've had to survive what we've only begun to learn about. And it's not fair to put that burden on them. That's why I study, listen, and talk to other white folks. It's not about guilt, and it's not about blame. It's about repair. Black people already know this history. White people need to know it too, because it's our history. It's our history too. Silence keeps the system working in the way that is unjust. Don't be afraid. You should be mad about what was kept from you on purpose. Now you have the opportunity to learn about it and start organizing your life differently. I am not an expert, but I love learning. You can put my username into your search engine. Scroll down if you want to help me out. You guys are the greatest. Get curious.
I'm so fucking mad, okay? Like, I'm having a hard time finding some calm in this post, okay? So stay with me. Trey Reed was a 21-year-old black man that was found on Delta State University campus in Cleveland, Mississippi. He was found hung from a tree with bruises all over his body, and his legs are broken. Like, come on. That wasn't a suicide. Did he break his legs before or after he hung himself? That was a hate crime. This didn't happen 60 years ago. This happened now. There are parents that are calling their kids and saying, don't go out by yourself. They're telling them you're not safe because your skin marks you. This is a conversation that they've already had from the time they were able to leave the house. 8-year-olds. There are conversations that are being had that is preparing them for hate crimes. And it's happening now, and you all are holding vigils for a white supremacist podcaster who, let's not get political, it's morals. It's humanity. It's why are you not angrier? It's not okay. Why is that getting so? Close the campus down. Go home, we'll provide counselors, whatever. Delta State University is already marked and labeled as a racially violent campus and filled with inequalities. Homophobia, transphobia, literal fucking racism. Your selective outrage is so fucked up. You have to be angrier. You have to be angrier at children going to school and getting shot. You have to be angrier at bodies, black bodies hanging from a tree.
Why are people losing their jobs standing up against white supremacy, and why are you so comfortable being a fucking racist?
You know, I'll never forget the day a white buddy of mine said black people don't deserve equality because they could never get enough. And that's true. White people are actually scared of equality. That's just how racist we are as a people. It's not just that one person. White culture in general. Probably I would say most white people, when they hear the word equality, they fear that white people will be oppressed because brown, black, and indigenous people might actually get what's fair and just. That's just how racist we are. And we're so obsessed with the idea of not having equality in America for black, brown, and indigenous people that we don't have health care, that we don't have economic equality. We don't have reasonable gun laws. Our liberties are being stripped because we have a fascist, racist, white supremacist regime in office because we are so scared of equality. We're so scared that black and brown folks might become the majority one day, that we had a black president, and now we've got to have a white supremacist president. That's how scared we are of equality. That's how racist we are as a people. Go to the fucking root. The root of America's problems. The root of the white man and the white woman, their problems, and America and the world. If you think about it, colonialization, white supremacy, the mentality of white people today, not just yesterday, today, right now, the denial, racially, the silence, the apathy, the continuous gaslighting, all that fucking shit, that's ruined us. It's ruined white people, and it's ruining our nation. And whose fault is it? White people's fault. Their inability to fucking fix their goddamn problem. Until we fix white supremacy, everything we try will fail. It's dysfunctional and it's toxic. And Trump and this regime is the perfect proof of all that shit. How we got in this fucking mess? White people's bullshit. White people's racist fucking bullshit. Period.
Every other day, it's another story about a white person being uncomfortable with a black person in a space they consider a white space. Whether it be a damn gym in a private office building or jogging in a predominantly white neighborhood. What do y'all not understand that segregation ended in 1964? Where the hell have you been, baby? Where have you been? Okay? And I have to ask you, what is it about black people that makes you so damn uncomfortable? Do y'all ever ask yourself that? Because realistically, according to statistics, they have a hell of a lot more to fear from us than we do from them. So why don't you marinate on that for a second?
In my town. But I would like to say what scares us is I think we hear violence.
Yes. The young lady said she's afraid of violence. And isn't it sad that we who have been the victims of so much violence, now whites fear violence from us? We do not have a history of killing white people. White people have a history of killing us. See? And what you fear, may I say this, sir? What you fear, it is a deep guilt thing that white folks suffer. You are afraid that if we ever come to power, we will do to you and your fathers what you and your people have done to us. And I think you are judging us by the state of your own mind, and that is not necessarily the mind of black people.
Person in this room who would be happy to be treated as this society in general treats our citizens, our black citizens. If you, as a white person, would be happy to receive the same treatment that our black citizens do in this society, please stand. You didn't understand the directions. If you white folks want to be treated the way blacks are in this society, stand. Nobody's standing here. That says very plainly that you know what's happening. You know you don't want it for you.
The amount of times I've been on dates with white men and they've asked me if I've dated black guys before is ridiculous. I was on a date with this white guy in Chicago last year and he goes, so, who do you typically date? The guys that look like me? I knew exactly what he was getting at because most white guys will ask this question at some point because they're trying to figure out ultimately if you're, quote, tainted. I literally said to him, does it bother you that you think about black men so much more than they will ever think about you? And that ended the conversation, but obviously we didn't go on a second date and I do think he was pretty offended by that. But the amount of white guys, even who are, quote, liberal, who are genuinely threatened and intimidated by you going on a date with people of color is ridiculous. Because it's not just black men. If you find out that you've dated a South Asian man or you've been on dates with women, specifically women of color, they will react similarly. Although it is obviously the most pronounced and genuinely disgusted that they will look if you say that you have been on dates with black men. But this is just one example of white men trying to figure out the, quote, purity of the white women they're seeing. And it's a way of resource guarding their own women because they don't like white women seeing other races or other genders.
My mom was a racist white woman, and she hated black people, which was crazy because look at me, guys. I'm black. I'm black. And when I tell you, she used to ask me all the time why I didn't have blonde hair with blue eyes and light skin. I'm like, Mom, you're the one who ended up with the black man. Why are you asking me why I'm not light-skinned? Like, you should be asking yourself why I'm not light-skinned, okay? And throughout most embarrassing thing, throughout elementary school, through almost like beginning of high school, I would tell people I wasn't black because my mom was like determined and brainwashed me to believe that I wasn't black. So embarrassing. Why did people even talk to me? Like, I was adamant I was not black. And when they would ask me, I'd be like, well, I'm not black. I don't know what you mean. And they're like, what the fuck do you think I mean? So embarrassing.
White people, are y'all scared to go in black spaces?
Shalom. First and foremost, I have to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushai, Hashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles, a great millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning, and unto the Ba'ath Dawada, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad, I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. I know I kind of let this video go on a little bit too long, but just to drive the point home about how these people are saying that, this whole thing with so-called white supremacy and racism towards you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, again, we all know why. We all know why. Esau Edom hates you, Jake, and he's afraid of you because he knows that you are superior. Because Yahweh Bashim Yahushai chose you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians to be his people. For the scripture tells you over and over and over again, Exodus chapter 19. And it can't be said enough. And I'm going to go to Exodus chapter 19, verse 3. It says, and Moses went up unto the Most High, and Yahweh called unto him out of the mountain, saying, thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel. Verse 4, ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. A peculiar treasure above all people. Esau Edom knows this. He knows that you're superior. And that fear that hate stems from the fact that he's afraid because he knows his latter end. He knows that he's going into captivity. He knows that he's going to go back to being the base man. He knows. In fact, let me get, as the title of this video says, how the world was taught to hate black people, right? So, let me get the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 11. It says, even unto this present hour we both hunger and thirst, and are naked and are buffeted, and have no certain dwelling place. Okay? So think about that. Like, why is it that we're constantly being treated like absolute shit? Yes, ultimately it's the curses because of our disobedience, put into this captivity, but this is Esau, Edom, and these other nations that are confederate with him. They hate us because they know who we are, and they're jealous of the fact that the Lord chose us and not them. You see, these other nations, that's what it is. They are envious of the fact that Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, chose us to be his people and not any of them. To be chosen by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, to be one of his people, that's something that is such on a grand scale that people, even in the kingdom to come, people are going to be envious. They're going to marvel. It's like, damn, man, to be a part of this nation, to be of this nation, to be the nation of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, like, that is envious. They it's the truth, man. Like, these nations hate you, especially Esau, Edom, who's trying to get the birthright back, but he can't. 1 Corinthians 4 and 12. And labor with our work at hands, being reviled, we bless, being persecuted, we suffer. So we work our fingers to the bone with these jobs. We work our asses off, working 8, 10, 12-hour shifts, come home tired, barely, making ends meet as best as we can, and yet we're still treated like shit by our supervisors, managers, first fired, last hired, and, we just learn how to stay humble and obedient, working for those who have authority over us. Do what we gotta do to get by. Get up, go to work, do what we gotta do, clock out, and then go home. And just hoping that we don't lose our jobs, because we still got things to do. With this society falling, we could lose it all at any moment. That's what you have to get your mind ready for. Verse 13, being defamed, we entreat, we are made as the filth of the world, and are the offscouring of all things unto this day. So we are treated as the world's garbage, like everybody's trash, up even unto this present moment, man. We are seen as the scum of the earth. We are seen as the scum of the earth. And this is the influence, the lies, and all the negativity that Esau, Edom has infected into the minds of the other nation. Even without that, the other nations, they still hated us and envied us. But Esau, he just further he just empowered that negativity, you know, with his lies and deceit and his own, you know, wicked influence. You know, this man is, if this man ain't the devil that the Bible speaks of, I don't know who or what is. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 8. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. So again, you know, we have to deal with, you know, being seen as lower class, you know, seen as being inferior. You know, everybody talks shit about us, spread rumors, this and that. You know, that kind of thing, it wears on you mentally and emotionally, but, you know, at this point, Jake is just tired. Nowadays, Jake is just tired of the bullshit. Jake don't give a fuck no more. Jake is just, you know, he just don't give a fuck no more about what people say, think, or feel. There just comes a point where you just say, fuck it, I don't care. Whatever. And that's how a lot of Jakes feel nowadays, because they're tired of being treated like shit. Verse 9, persecuted but not forsaken, cast down but not destroyed. So, you know, even these modern day centurions, the cops, you know, we're always being targeted, always being monitored by the cops, even when we're just minding our own damn business, not doing anything wrong, not committing no crimes. The cops gotta find some fucking reason to fuck with us. You know, Jake could be just walking down the street to the freaking convenience store to get him a drink or some candy bars and or whatever, a snack. The cops could just stop him and just start harassing him for no fucking reason. And I've seen it done before, multiple times. For nothing. Jake just wanna chill. He don't wanna stir up no shit. But that's Edom's MO. Esau loves to stir up shit. For nothing. Because, you know, the fact that, you know, like even some of the white folks in this video, you know, they said, you know, especially that one white woman, you know, how she says that how white men hate black men because white women are attracted to black men. Like, that's not our fault. It's not our fault that we are the salt of the earth, that we got flavor, that we got rhythm, we got vigor, we got liveliness to our spirit, man. We just have that vibe. You know, and as we're getting closer and closer to the downfall of this this devil's queendom, he's losing power fast because of his woman, the Edomite woman. Even the Edomite women, they're all turning against you, Esau, saying that you're lame, you're fucked up, you're insecure, you're boring, you're weak, this and that. The curses are turning onto you now, Esau. And now that you're starting to go through what we've been going through for the last 400 years, it don't feel too good, don't it? It don't feel too good. So, what can you know? You have no one to blame but yourself for this, Esau. And it says right here, Ezekiel 35:5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, and the time of the calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end. So, you went past the expiration date of when we were supposed to be out of captivity. You went past that. It's been long overdue. Verse 6, therefore as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So it's going to be your turn. And like that lady said in that little class that she had all those white people, you know, if any white person were to be happy to go through what black people have gone through, stand up. Not a single one of them did, because they know that in their spirit that what they've done and what their ancestors have done, they're gonna have to pay for it. If you can receive it through the spirit, reincarnation. Those are the same people from back then, in those old days, that did some rather, you know, atrocious things to the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians. And the Lord's gonna bring it to their remembrance. Yeah, you done fucked up. You did this. Now you gotta pay. You've got to pay, and it's gonna be with your own blood. So fuck what Farrakhan said. No, if you want justice, you know, anybody in their right mind would want revenge. You know, fuck Farrakhan. You know, fuck what he says about how how black people don't want to, or so-called black people or people of color don't want to do to you what you've done to us. No, we want to get our lick back. We want to get our lick back. We want justice. We want righteous judgment. Ezekiel 35:7. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. So, yeah, Mount Seir, which is the house of Esau, the Edomites, you will be cut off by slaughter. This is your ultimate judgment. But first you must go through 1,000 years of hardcore captivity, and then we're going to put your ass to sleep for good. Bye-bye. Burn you. And with that, I hope that this was edifying. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostle of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Bayatha Dabada, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad. I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. See you on the next lesson, Lord willing. Wam Yasharala, Wa Abad Bal, Shalom, Barakatam.